One of the things that I have to say that sort of frustrated me, at least with some of the speakers I heard while I was at Cadman, and just sort of broadly about how this is being framed, is this notion that they're talking about reuniting children with their parents, or this policy of family separation has to end. Understand, what we have done as a country is not family separation. Because when I say to you family separation, that could mean like, oh, we're taking your father away from you, from his wife and the kids, because men can't be housed in the same detention center as women and children. Or family separation, hey, there's a divorce, and the father is going with one child and the mother is going with another child. What we have done is kidnapping. It's kidnapping. There should be no debate about the policy of family separation. We are kidnapping. If a mother and a child walk onto my front lawn and they're trespassing on my front lawn, I can't say, hey, wait a second, walk out, hold a gun at the mother and say, I'm taking your kid. It's kidnapping. And to say to the mother then, if you sign this document relinquishing your rights, statutory rights, under U.S. law and international law to seek asylum from this country, we'll give you your kid back. If you pay the fees to fly them, we'll give you your kid back. That's called ransom. We have kidnapped children as a policy, and then we've disappeared them. They're just lost in the system because there was never any plan. Nobody cared. This is not a policy. This is kidnapping. It's kidnapping. It's despicable. And frankly, like, the media reports it as this is a policy of family separation, right? That's the words that the Trump administration is saying to the reporters. What's going on here? Why are all these kids here? They've been taken from their mom. They've been told that the kid's going to take a bath and then they're just gone. Oh, that's our new policy of family separation. Yeah, the Trump administration doesn't get to define kidnapping as family separation. And I can understand why reporters will parrot those words. That's what they're told. They don't perceive their job as to reinterpret. But there really isn't a lot of reinterpretation that needs to go on. This is kidnapping. It's kidnapping. And at the very least, I think it's important that when you start talking about it with other people, you've got to remind them it's kidnapping. This is not family separation. Can mean a whole raft of other things. Kidnapping means one thing: you take the kids, and then you don't give them back unless you get ransom. Here is a 12-year-old girl. She was at the Washington, D.C. protest. Her name is Leah. She delivers a speech about the possibility of her mother being deported. And again, this is not a situation where kids show up and are kidnapped from their parents, and their parents are put into some type of holding cell and are basically, you want your kid back? Sign this document, say you give up your asylum claim. It's not that. It's still a horrific policy of, for whatever reason, we feel it's necessary. And don't talk to me about rule of law unless you are calling for Jared Kushner to be indicted for his failure to report on every single federal document the guy's filled out. All felonies, not misdemeanors, felonies. And of course we could go on, right? But here is this 12-year-old girl talking about the fear of losing her mother.
I live with the constant fear of losing my mom to deportation. My mom is strong, beautiful, and brave. She is also a person who taught me how to speak up when I see things that aren't fair. ICE wants to take away my mom from me. I don't like to live with this fear. It's scary. I can't sleep. I can't study. I am stressed. I am afraid that they will take my mom away while she is at work, out driving, or at home. I don't understand why this administration won't support mothers who just want a better life for their children.
I mean, the idea to put a 12-year-old kid through this, it's torture. And for what? For what possible reason? For what possible gain as a country do we see? Yeah, I mean, that's it.
The only purpose.
Whipping up the base in a racist frenzy.
There you go.
And literally, I think, the demographics that favor you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the way it just starts. You'd start to just need to synchronize voter suppression.
It's obvious.
These immigration policies. It's obvious. It's just you're making your map.
And it's
they're not the only ones who aren't worried about those demographic
Here's
arguments.
the thing. The irony is that there's certainly, I mean, prior to this, there was certainly and I certainly am not the only person who thinks this, a significant reason to believe that a lot of these immigrants, particularly from Latin America, would become Republican voters. I mean, and I can tell you,
It was the Bush era thinking.
well, I think they were right.
Those numbers have gone down every single election since 2000 for pretty obvious reasons.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that ship may have sailed. And the reason why they couldn't dock that ship, essentially, is because the base of the Republican Party just is racist.
We know who else
And
Bush
so
won
they-
a majority of in 2000, right?
In
2000,
Muslims.
yes,
Muslims.
exactly.
And the base of the Republican Party is simply too racist to motivate themselves to go and vote without this type of rhetoric. And this is the problem that
And
the Republicans
action.
have. I mean, the funny thing is that I don't know what context I was talking to somebody about this, but somebody, they said they heard on WNYC someone say, like, caller from Brooklyn. You don't see any Trump voters out there. There's a significant percentage of people in Brooklyn.
Hasids. They're all,
Not just
a lot
Hasids.
of them are
Russian immigrants.
Russian immigrants, right?
And you have a lot of immigrants.
And they had to clean up the border. All right. So, what is next taxi scam?
I mean, I talked to probably at least 100 people over the weekend when I was canvassing for Julia Salazar in Bushwick. And I got 2 people who told me they were Republicans. And one was a black guy, one was a Hispanic guy. But 2 out of more than 100 is, pretty low still.
That's 2%.
It'd be honestly.
I'm aware.
It'd be remarkable if there was absolutely 0.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. That would be sort of
That would be like just an anomaly of any. Also, so that's also, by the way, I would say, I don't know, where these people are from, but the people from the Caribbean actually would be absolutely another very potentially gettable vote for Republicans if they weren't such abject apartheid promoters.
If they couldn't,
yes,
if
they were
racism wasn't just sort of the organizing principle, right?
Yes.
Can't you just pretend you're not racist for a couple of minutes to help yourself gain power?
There's people who,
He
but
still
no.
got,
Too hard.
29% of Hispanic voters went for Trump despite all the
wasn't that high.
horrible rhetoric.
It wasn't that high.
It wasn't?
I think it was 20.
I think it was pretty high.
20
It
something.
was 22, I think.
If you take away,
But Puerto Rican
and that number,
and
number,
Cuban.
I think is also higher than it would be had you had a male Democratic candidate. That is
Oh, yeah.
a
Higher than it would be if we'd had a better Democratic candidate too, probably.
I'm pretty sure if you had had a another woman, you would see a similar number in terms of Latinos. I think maybe not exactly, but
Careful.
no. I mean, I think there is. I think within certain Latin American cultures,
The
idea
data
of
that
a
I've
woman,
seen the data I've seen that's available on that really ultra micro targeted thing is that was the type of voter that was suckered by the populism primarily
versus
a gender break.
Really?
Now maybe they're not saying it publicly.
I don't know. I remember that caller that we had.
Oh yeah.
It
Which
was
one?
29%.
She was talking.
It was 29%.
According to USA Today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's, but also another thing too is like disaggregating between like even just Cubans as an example and how much they weight it versus other groups.
Right,
Like that's a
right,
very
right,
funky
right.
stat in and of itself.
Yeah, and the economics that goes into who gets to vote in the first place too.